Hello and welcome. My name is Tim.
I'm Dante, and I'm Herfy Durfy. No, I'm kidding. Herfy's not here with us, but yeah, Herfy is here with us in spirit. How's it going, Tim?
Going pretty good, and I would say, close enough. I'll take it. It's a pretty good substitute. Your impression was decent. Do you know any German?
I don't really. Anything I know is what Herfy taught me, and I don't know if we can say that on the stream.
Yeah, it's all the naughty words. Well, this is let me make sure I get all these words. The Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2020 exhibition race. So what we've done here is we've assembled the 5th through 8th place racers from last year's Mentor Tournament. We'll explain what that is, I'm sure in a little while, maybe soon. And actually, this was sort of their idea. They wanted to race again, or they were kind of talking about it. We approached them and sort of made it an official thing, and so now they're going to essentially kind of show us how far they've come since last year. All of these individuals were racers that were getting mentored as they made their way through the tournament, and now all of them have improved quite a bit, as you'll see. So it should be really interesting to see sort of a comparison and how far they've come. Dante, are you excited for this one, my friend?
Yeah, this one's gonna be a whole lot of fun, I think. 4 good runners here where I have seen the names pop up before, and then that was before the mentor tournament, but then they
Mhm.
really started to shine and get their feet wet in rando and learn a lot of techniques in the last mentor tournament. So it's been almost a year or so since that concluded, and this kind of tiebreaker race happened. So I'm interested to see how these guys all do coming in this race with the same 4 people.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a question in chat. Who won the last time? I'm going to look that up because I don't want to get it wrong, but I can definitely tell you. Dante, you say something. There's dead air.
Yeah,
I hate dead air.
I know you hate dead air. Now, all 4 of these guys, I do want to say a huge thank you to them, kind of as being like our graduates, I guess, for the mentor tournament last year, and just doing this exhibition. There's really nothing at stake here except some bragging rights, and there's a lot you could be doing on a Friday night, but here we are doing another exhibition race. I gotta also shout out Senen, over in the French community and staying up super super late, in their time, but able to do this race for us. So we do appreciate that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. What a champion. Going through the putting themselves through a jet lag, as it were, to be able to have this at a nice, comfy time for the rest of the racers and all of our American viewers. So yeah, we really appreciate that. Did find out. We also had some people chime in chat. Zeitnix was the winner last time, so that was our official 5th place finisher. Unfortunately, I don't have the information for who was second, third, or fourth, but I do remember watching this one. I haven't rewatched it recently, but I think it will be kind of cool to go, put them side by side after this, so you can kind of see a little bit of the, progress that they've made.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see for sure. That being said, so I do have it took a little digging, but it looks like Zeitnix won this race. Senen was second, Verts was third, and Blackwax was fourth. So it'll be interesting to see if it's the same, different, how things shake up this time. Rando's gonna rando, I guess.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that journalism there, finding the hard answers out there. I appreciate it, and I know our viewers do as well. Dante, do you want to talk maybe a little bit for those who are not familiar about the mentor tournament and kind of what we're getting ready to kick off on Monday?
Yeah, as we're getting ready to get this race started, so the Mentor Tournament is basically a kind of cooperative tournament. Uh, Basically, one racer will be, listening to a mentor or their co-op partner, if you want to call it that, kind of in their ear as we're getting going here. Um, Basically, giving them advice on the fly, as we see a heart piece in the first chest. That advice on the fly is something they can choose to do or choose not to do. So yeah, it's a kind of a learning tool, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to be clear, now these folks are not being mentored; they are just racing kind of um, as normal, just regular 4-way race. But they were when they faced off last year in this 5th through 8th race. They or actually they weren't mentored there either, but they were part of the mentor tournament where they were mentored in many races before this one. And we see if we look at Senen's screen, we have an early glove, which should be interesting.
Yeah, it looks like Zeitnix is going to be grabbing that as well. And I just want to point out the two Uncle routers getting rewarded with that tree pull and getting 10 bombs. Vert's doing the same thing, just, being a sanctuary router. That's fine and all. I just don't approve of it personally.
It's all a matter of personal preference. As long as you make your own conscious decision and weigh all the pros and cons, I think go for whatever you want. But I have my opinions. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
All right, so getting a peek here in the Lost Woods, and Blackwax being the Lone Ranger coming in from the back here of Kakariko, $20 in Lost Woods. Senen, meanwhile, falling in back of Escape. We got 3 items.
There's a blue goo that'll be useful in the early game here. It's always nice to see that pop up early, not just because it's a nice health, kind of safety, but it can also help to get you that sick kid item.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dante, I'm going to just drop this very subtly right now, and we'll revisit it. But I just want to say that we have an announcement that we want to make. And I'm going to be very vague about it for now, but it's going to come. We'll find out just the right time to say it during this race, and it'll probably be about halfway through or so. But I just have to say, I am so excited to announce that. So just a quick sneak peek at what we've got coming up.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I was wondering how long before we teased it. But we got a lamp on Blackwax's side. Everybody else kind of playing a little bit of catch up here in this early game. There's $50. We got a Bombos medallion. That's always nice to have. That's potentially some Ice Palace access way down the line if a Fire Rod doesn't show up, but that's way too early to be calling it that.
Yeah, we also had flippers and a bow in Blind's Hut, so a lot of consequences for routing there.
Yeah, I just got to say that I've done a lot of commentary, and I've never commed a 4-player race, so this is a whole new experience for me, and so I'm probably gonna miss some things. So, chat, if Tip and I do miss some stuff, feel free to berate us in chat, as chat loves to do most times on other networks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do not be afraid to correct us. If there's one thing that the Go Mode podcast strives for, it's accuracy in everything that we talk about here. So if we get something wrong or we miss something, we want to know about it.
I gotta say, this is a pretty good Kakariko. Personally, just seeing what we've got here, I'm really feeling the Eastern play. It's a crystal, we can get it done. You don't know what kind of progression is going to be there, but anytime you have a bow early and Eastern's a crystal, you kind of, in my mind, you want to prioritize it just to go ahead and knock it out, especially, if Mirror hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, definitely. I prefer to check that as well, earlier rather than later. So now we have kind of some crisscrossing, those who, started with Uncle, catching up to the ones at Sanctuary and vice versa, to kind of get everything sort of, to kind of get everyone equal, probably, as it were. And then we'll see probably some mix up in the routing from there. Vert's showing us just the heart on the library. Go ahead.
Blackwax making use finally of that tree pull, seeing the 8 bombs. So and that's going to be a welcome find for these runners. I don't think they're going to be going, too, low on their bomb count now. We do have the bow, so we do have some form of a weapon that's not bombs, which is always a welcome thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Verts has cleaned up all the opening stuff and opting for the... So Vert's about to make a big power play there and skip the house chest, but decides to go back for it. I have a great respect for runners if they can manage to skip Link's house for more than, one pass through of the house. But Vert's making that play over to the eastern area. Looks like Blackwax is close behind. We do have Saha's hut over here. We've got bombs, so we can get in the back of there. And 3 items in the back, and we can potentially talk to Sahashrala, get our green pendant intel if we need it.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone will opt for that.
You know, runners will sometimes check it. Right now, let's see. Saha's hut just got a couple of wow, all 3 20s. So nothing of major value there. It's in open mode. It's not the. I guess you could call it a little bit of a time waste to really talk to Sahashrala there. And yeah, it just makes, to me, it does make a little more sense to just see what the map says. But looks like Senen getting rewarded for heading into back of escape with that bottle back there, getting the mushroom on the sick kid. Not sure if that's going to lead to anything yet, though.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's always fun to chase that one down, especially when you get the first thread of a fetch quest like that nice and early. You're always going to be wondering until you finally turn it in.
All right, so headed into Eastern, we got 3 items in Eastern, as well as the map compass big key. And speaking of the map, there it is in that first chest for Vert. So Cannonball Room coming up empty today. Do have some Divergence Zeitnix heading to the South Shore. That damn chest gonna have just a piece of heart right now.
I swear, you said Zeitnix, and my eyes just darted around the screen for a full second until I was like, oh, Zeitnix. Okay, there we go. Because there's a lot going on right now.
Look, it's so hard with 4 screens. There's so much going on. No one's in the same place. How are you supposed to do this?
I'm just kind of scanning and looking for things that are interesting, and that's why I'm afraid of, missing things that are just general seed knowledge. I can tell you what any one person's doing just fine, but again, let us know if we miss anything. We've also, we should give a shout out to 2 of our Mentor Tournament admins who are on tracking for us, Lady Box Thief and Lumaga, keeping everybody honest. So we appreciate their hard work.
Absolutely.
Senen going to show us that mushroom check. Oh, wow. That's a mirror.
Okay, so Tim's slightly ahead of me. Okay, so yeah, that is a mirror. That's crazy. All right, so that's going to be required most likely.
Yeah.
And we got Mini Moldorm here for Zeitnix. It looks like a bunch of garbage to begin with, and yeah, nothing's lighting up on the tracker, so I'm going to assume it's not anything good.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, that is a pretty heads-up play by Senen. Getting that glove early from doing the uncle route, and recognizing that having the bombs, you can go ahead and do back of escape. A lot of times that doesn't pan out very well for you. A lot of times there's no progression there in that case, but seems that's just how the seed's rolling right now. So heads-up play to recognize your item layout at the time.
Yeah, I think you definitely got to call that a gamble, and I think Senen would probably realize it may be a good thing to ask them, but it's just kind of like running down a dream a little bit. It's like you have everything to do it. Well, maybe I should check it if no one else does, and it's something important. I've now got an advantage, and that's exactly what happened.
All right, so Verts has checked all of the chests except the big one because we had to get that big key. And I haven't seen anything pop up in Eastern of any value, except that $20. We're $20 now is kind of a big item. It would put us at Zora money.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that could technically be progression, potentially, just not logically.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen anything too useful show up here in Eastern either. But, it is a crystal, so it was going to have to be done anyways. So that's a situation where you're not too bummed to not find anything, especially since Eastern is not too terribly long as it is. It's not often you get to go mode Eastern because it usually ends up before you end up checking it out before you're in go mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe like bow mode is probably the only time,
I gotta say, I am a little interested that Senen came to Eastern just because having that mirror. If we do get Dark World access with a lot of the part of the mountain being open right now, you could potentially bundle this with Pod. That's a little bit of a a risky strat. You're kind of depending on a lot of things to happen, but this is the safe play, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting.
And it did look like Zeitnix did pick up a sword over in Ice Rod Cave. So Zeitnix going to have a sword going through here as Verts gets his first crystal.
Very nicely done. Let's see where Verts goes next. Meanwhile, the three other runners, all in various points of Eastern Palace, Vert's going to do something a little different.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I guess Verts is going to go ahead and clean up that South Shore now. A lot of retracing here, but when you get 4 players, you do have the opportunity to really have the racers, kind of fan out and look for progression for chat to see. Of course, they only get to see their screen, but
right.
yeah, for us, sometimes it's like, oh well, everybody's doing what they were already doing, and then we have to talk like this and wait for progression to show up and be exciting.
Yeah. But it does present a good opportunity to talk about some sort of additional topics related to this race. So getting back into the Mentor Tournament, this is something that we started last year. This will be the second year that we're doing it, and the first round is going to kick off this Monday. And we had 32 participants last year. This year, we have doubled that to 64 racers. And I know a lot of them are watching now. So shout outs to all of our Mentor Tournament racers, and good luck in the season.
Yeah, good luck to all of the racers and the mentors. I gotta say that doubling this is good. We plan to double it potentially with the number of runners. At least we're not quadrupling it, like some other things may have done.
Yeah, some other communities in the ALTTPR
I may
realm.
or may not be involved with. Yeah, the quadrupling sometimes gets kind of wild.
Yeah, I feel like we have to say we're talking about the league just for anyone who's new to the scene. But yeah, they quadrupled in size from last year to this year, and we didn't quite do anything that dramatic. But we also did lengthen the tournament, so it's going to be a lot more rando overall, more people and more.
Yeah, it should be a whole lot of fun. Should give us some pretty good results with the way we're doing the Swiss stage. And the multiple brackets for people to participate in. A lot of opportunity, I feel like, for people to grow as a player and progress in their rando career, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out to Senen, who just took on those 6 popos in the pre-boss room in Eastern Palace with some bombs, a kind of a clever bomb layout, remembering that they don't have a sword. It was an interesting way to handle that. I kind of appreciated it.
All right, so Senen taking down the Armos Knights, very nicely done. And going to get his first crystal of the seed.
Mm-hmm. And Blackwax heading up to Ice Rod Cave, so they will find their first sword. When is someone going to show us something we haven't seen? I think it's going to come up pretty soon. I think everybody's getting pretty well caught up at this point.
Yeah, Blackwax about to get his sword. We do have that opportunity for an escape play. We've already gotten 3 items in the back, so there are 3 left. If I do recall, there was a key in Sanctuary.
Interesting. Anecdotally, it feels like a lot of times when I go down to the front of Escape, there's stuff down there. I don't know if that's a product of the filler working in a certain way, but it just feels like one of those areas that can have what you need.
Yeah, for sure. The mountain, I mentioned the mountain earlier. That is a play. We do have, all these flippers checks as Blackwax is doing here with those flippers. That is going to be all in logic at this stage.
Yeah.
But, the mountain, it's kind of a tough call with the mountain. No hook, no hammer. We can't get to the right side. However, Hera is fully clearable right now. But with the way the current meta is, you kind of want to push Hera off if possible until the hook shows up, so you could potentially Hera pot. I say meta in the sense the logic doesn't require it, but a lot of people like to do that to potentially save time. It's kind of a risk-reward scenario.
That's right. And Blackwax just checked out Waterfall Cave and found gloves and a book. So that was stacked.
So that's our second set of gloves, right? For the hold speed.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're just a pearl from Dark World access. That's going to be nice.
I wonder if that's going to show up on Zora. That definitely happens sometimes. Blackwax is gonna show us here momentarily.
All right, so Zeitnix has decided to make that front of escape play. Just some, I think, a green rupee in that very first chest. 3 bombs on Zora, so that's some expensive bombs. But Blackwax now going to make that play to grab that fairy in a bottle. That'll be their first bottle and will be their access to Sick Kid.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because that's how they'll get their mirror.
Well, they'll get their mushroom, and then it just depends on if they want to go, turn it in.
Yeah. It's a path to a mirror. Yeah.
There's that glove for Verts as well as the book. Sword for Senen. S-words. There's a lot of them.
You're doing great, Dante. You're getting them all. You're calling them out.
These are all the things that Temp edits out from every episode when I just start talking. No, I'm kidding. We don't really. I try to keep it on task when we're doing record.
Yeah, I honestly don't edit that much, but I will say I got a little bit of like butterflies in the stomach before we started. It's a little more, it makes me a little more nervous being live like this,
I was only nervous because I knew you were going to say we had some kind of announcement to talk about mid-race. And that was the only.
I cannot wait. So I don't think it's quite time yet, but I think we're getting pretty close to being able to talk about that. So stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, we'll say like maybe we're not halfway yet, Tim. Good night.
No,
we got one crystal.
You're right.
Let's give him a little bit of time.
I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking about it.
All right, so Zeitnix going to be dropping in back of escape now. There are a couple items here. I don't know if we got the map. I did not see. Yeah, we were too busy. I'm joking around.
Sorry.
So, no, it's fine. No, the map was back here. So I think that does mean there is something in Dark Cross, my nemesis, and Zeitnix is going to go check that out. We do have Lamp fully in logic. Fire Rod nowhere to be found, but that would also put it in logic. And Blackwax has that mirror. I'm sorry. The book going to be able to do a Gina and potentially dip into Desert.
Yeah, I would love to see what's in there. Also fully in logic. And very easy to traverse with the mirror. Now, of course, we don't know whether it's going to be boots locked or not, and we probably won't until we get there. Yeah, I'm curious to see what is held within the doors of Desert Palace. It's also a crystal.
Yeah, the boots thing could come up for Desert. If it doesn't, then I don't know. You could say that's a mild indicator. Ooh, that's a hammer on that desert ledge. I fear for Blackwax. If Pearl shows up inside of here, it could be ages before Blackwax actually checks front of escape to get that other glove.
Oh, interesting. What makes you think specifically they would put it off?
I mean, if you get Pearl and you have your full Dark World package, to me it's like, okay, let's go ahead and dip the deeper spheres, see where the progression takes us, so to speak. And it's not always a sure thing to do that. It used to kind of be the meta to always do that. But with an item showing up in that first chest there for Blackwax, this is boot locked. Not going to be getting a Pearl inside of Desert today.
No, yeah, that is a good point. Once you get Dark World access, obviously that opens up quite a few checks, especially when you have the mirror and the mitts, which our runners will when they get there. So it's easy to write off some of those Sphere 0 and 1 checks as not necessary this time. But that is not going to be the case for Front of Escape.
So with that hammer, I do have to say the mountain is the main priority for Blackwax, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Maybe check back of escape along the way, but you've got. Oh, I take that back though. He doesn't have the mirror, so a tough call to make. Tough call to make now. I see. I'm looking at it from the bird's eye view of the mirror is in play.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's really kind of a galaxy brain to grab that. Not exactly a galaxy brain, but as we discussed earlier, it sort of took a little bit of a focused, calculated kind of risk to get there. And it might take a while for some of our runners to get there. If we had flute, it would probably be a little more likely because, of course, that is a flute stop. But as of right now, they just got to hoof it up there. Now there are, warp portals you can take advantage of. They do have flippers, but it might not be the first choice that they make. There's a lot of other things they could check right now.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I really think that's really helping Senen out with that mirror is lazy kid or sick kid. Lazy kid is the new, more correct term for the guy. But he's kind of a one-off check right now, especially with no Dark World access. If the Pearl shows up, you're a little more inclined to go back to Kakariko, especially if you don't have Hammer yet, which now 2 of our runners do. But yeah, like it's so far out of the way. So Senen just routed this very well. Luck playing on his side a little bit as well as just some heads up thinking.
Yeah. All right. Have we seen a Gina yet?
Yes, we have. It is
Okay.
a bunch of garbage.
A quarter of a heart can help us stay alive a little longer. Yeah, we're not too interested in that from a progression standpoint.
All right, so Zeitnix, no mirror in hand, but is going to go ahead and make that mountain play. This is kind of good. You have to do this anyway with no flute in the logic at the moment. And going to have that nice save and quit point up here, which is another nice place to, we get a master sword from the old man carrying some goodies. Now, here's the question. Is Aga going to come into play? Because there's no Pearl yet. There's a lot of checks to be done, but no Pearl yet. Is there a chance for the Pearl on the pyramid?
Well, there absolutely is from a logic standpoint. It is a pretty rare situation, but I think anyone who's played Rando long enough has probably had it happen to them. It's certainly not impossible. It can also be something like shovel on pyramid, and then you've got your pearl buried in the sacred grove. So yeah, sometimes it can be kind of nasty. Dante, when you are checking around and you realize that you do have that AGA access, will you like forsake other checks to gamble on that pyramid, or will you exhaust all other checks before you do AGA without a move?
Well, it really depends on the race setting. If I am me personally, if I'm racing a 1v1, I will exhaust all checks because in a 1v1 setting, it seems to be more kind of the better play. If I am just trying to swing for the fence in a huge group race on a daily or something with 50 people in it, then yeah, I might decide to just do that. Oh, we got a flute. Talking about that. That's on Spec Rock. So yeah, it just really depends, if I'm being honest.
It almost makes you wonder what would have happened if Senen would have got that mirror and immediately followed the breadcrumbs to come up here and to come up to mountain and get that.
Yeah, this seed's kind of, honestly, been pretty linear so far. It's just a matter of where the bottleneck is, and Senen didn't hit that bottleneck really by getting that bottle to the mushroom. That's kind of a nasty combo, especially this early on. When you're a runner, you hate to see something like that.
Yeah.
So Ether Tablet, a whole lot of nothing. Just a hard piece. These guys, they got a good bit of health. Kind of a healthy seed. Looks like Blackwax did go check out Sick Kid, Lazy Kid, and got the mirror too. So that's a good sign for Blackwax.
Yeah, you definitely want to see him get that. All of our racers, they're going to need it. So you want to see him make that decision sooner rather than later. Senen's going to show us what Hera looks like. This will be the first time we see this. Ooh, and the first chest has boots.
Well, I say that's a good look for Hera. And that's a pendant too. Some people may be inclined to skip it. Senen opting not to go in,
They're
finish the
done.
rest of it. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
can't say I
no
blame
bout.
them. Um, it's slow and it's a pendant. There's no you could bundle this in potentially with the mirror and the dark mountain later on if necessary.
Very true. Yeah, I think that was a smart decision to make as well. We have a question in chat. What is a fetch quest? So it is basically a way to describe, say, if you find something like mushroom, and then of course mushroom needs to be turned into the witch's hut, and then that gives you an item. Let's say you get that in a shovel, and then of course you have to use your shovel to go dig in the sacred grove. It's just kind of a series of items that lead you one to the other, and then you're kind of hoping that there's something useful at the end. Senen giving us a map check. Looked like red crystal on Turtle Rock. That was unfortunately the only one I saw. Dante, did you get a peek?
Looked like that was a green pendant over at Pod. Our trackers are doing a mighty fine job of
Yep.
getting everything straightened out there. And I want to say it was another pendant on Thieves Town. So shout outs to our trackers for keeping us straight because in a 4-player race, I'm going to miss everything. And I'm going to really rely on them more than I already do.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you'll notice, we've got two lined up for you because we got twice the runners here. Also, and there's our moon pearl on Spiral Cave of all places. Finally finding that.
You know,
Also, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's a really good opportunity for a sequence break here. Having the mitts, Senen, and that pearl has the boots. If you can do it's always fun to potentially try and hover hookshot cave. It's a little bit of an advanced strat, but it can sequence break some things.
I've heard there are a select few who are able to do that.
I mean, a lot of people can hover these days, to be honest.
It's old hat. Everyone can hover. Come on.
All right, there's the boots for Blackwax. And Blackwax going to go ahead and decide to head on up and complete Tower of Hera.
Okay, so that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll see something of note as the second item here. It's always possible.
And there's only one more item here to be found. So we'll see what we get. There's our small key, so could be down in the basement. That would be kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, could require a coffee break, and I would definitely be doubtful as to whether or not I wanted to sit around and wait for that in a race like this.
Well, Verts and Zeitnix getting their mirrors almost at the exact same time. We were kind of joking in jest here, switching back to Senen and where he is over in Super Bunny. There's a full heart container as well as 10 bombs, but there is one chest fully in logic inside a hookshot cave with just those boots, and it's the very bottom one to the right. The first chest, the game logic does expect you to be able to bonk across to those. Looks like Senen is going to open that up and show us how that's done.
That's right. Yeah, the devs of ALTTPR didn't have it programmed that way initially, but they went back and changed it. And the reasoning was there's that one little spot in Ganon's tower where the only way to get to it is to do a similar sort of bonk. So by that logic, the devs assumed, well, the devs of the game expected this to a certain extent, and that chest is reachable through a bonk. And so it's within logic if you have the boots and no hook shot.
All right, so Vert's getting his flute as well as Zeitnix. Meanwhile, Blackwax has finished up Moldorm, that pesky boss, and getting a rather crucial item, I must say. We got that ice rod. That's going to be required. That could be an item that, it doesn't really cause progression right now, but depending on who, if, and when puts off Tower of Hera, that could be a big decider in this race.
Yes, and we already have at least one runner who went through and bailed on it. So that's not great news there. It might be a while before they go back into Hera for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. $20 inside the bonk rocks today.
Also, since
And
we have mitts and boots, we could also check King's Tomb, but I don't think we've seen that.
yeah, it looks like Senen has opted not to do that just yet, but looks like Senen is going to activate the flute for us, and it looks like honestly Senen's going to be the only one to not complete Tower of Hera, barring any unfortunate circumstances in the area for these guys with Moldorm. I think they can handle Moldorm. He's annoying, but he's not a huge roadblock for these guys.
Right, absolutely, yeah, and that is interesting that Senen was the only one because they definitely had a clear advantage early on, finding that fetch quest chain, with the mushroom ultimately leading to mirror and flute, and now it's kind of been maybe equalized a little bit. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure. So we're getting our Meyer intel here on Senen's side, and I did not see what that medallion was at all.
I think it
But
might have been Bombos, but I'm sure we will learn soon.
well, we're getting Meyer shed. There's 2 chests in here. There's some bombs, and there's some silver arrows. So that's going to make things pretty fast for us when we get to use those on
That's
some
nice.
bosses.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, we have dual Moldorm fights here. Zeitnix taking him down, and Vert's taking him down. Both very well done with the hammer.
Senen making use of that mirror, recognizing has that big key. Gonna go ahead and head to the back, get and work on his second crystal.
So regarding the Misery Mire medallion, I'm not sure anyone caught it. It was a very quick check. I was even looking at the screen, but I cannot confirm for sure. Like I said, I thought I saw Bombos, but haven't seen anyone able to 100% confirm that yet.
And we're getting a little bit of a different play here from Blackwax, headed into the Dark World in the Village of Outcast area. So this will be some new checks for us as he's venturing up into the Skull Woods region.
That's right. And of course, we don't have fire rods, so this is just going to be a dip unless we can find it in here. But 2 items here, of course, and it's never really a bad strategy to come dip this, in my opinion. I think there's good times for it and worse times for it, but you can always make a case for it coming in to try to find these 2 items here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Landmola's given Senen just a little bit of trouble, but has those silvers, and looks like is going to be able to finish this fight up. Nicely done. And that is going to be crystal number 2. And Vert's going to be making the play up to
Ooh.
the Dark World as well. Now, Verts is one of our runners that I do believe, and I really don't want to keep harping on this, but I think Verts was one of our runners who did learn to hover like shortly after
Yes.
the Mentor Tournament last year. So there's the possibility. I don't know how well if he'll want to pull that out. It would be kind of cool to see in this exhibition thing if he was able to. If not, it's also totally acceptable. I just wanted to highlight that he did on our hovering episode back way before my time was able to pull that off.
Yeah, he did. We got confirmation and gave him a little shout out on the podcast, as we mentioned that we would if anyone figured it out. I believe Zeitnix did as well. They also
Okay.
figured out the hover. Yeah, so that should be very interesting to see if we do get, if they break us off a piece of that.
All right, there's the Moon Pearl for Verts, and he's finally got his Dark World access.
Yeah, also shout out to Lumaga on our tracker. Also pulled off a successful hover after listening to our episode. So shout out to all three of those folks. You too can listen to the episode and take a stab at learning how to hover. A guest P Train walked us through it on air, and it was a very enlightening episode.
Well, there's our red mail inside of Checkerboard. I saw chat speculating earlier about what was in Checkerboard, and now we know. We got some pretty hefty armor. You know, Tip, I gotta say, if you have blue mail and especially red mail, it's pretty easy to not die. Wouldn't you say?
I would agree with that. There are definitely some enemies where it matters whether you have green, red, or blue, but generally, yes, I would say having a mail other than green is going to save you from dying
Yeah, for sure.
more often than not.
And
Mhm.
especially if you're, not dying, you're going faster than if you were dying. So I think
That is so true.
it's pretty important.
Absolutely. Is this our first hype cave?
I believe it is. All right, NPC, just a piece of heart. And looks like these guys are noping out of here. Zeitnix gonna go for it. There's another piece of heart, half magic, $300, and a heart piece. So decent hype cave, nothing progression wise, but another safety with half magic being kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout outs to Zeitnix. They might not have covered the whole gap, but they gave it a try, and it really couldn't have come at a better time right after we were talking about it. So thank you, Zeitnix, for helping to illustrate kind of what we're talking about. Zeitnix also going to show us Spike Cave. They've got that blue potion out ready to go. It's a bit of a gamble deciding to use a potion as opposed to, if you have an invol item, but we don't have any of those. So this is what we got to do if we want to see it. And it ends up just being 50 rupees, but I respect the check.
Now, this is going to be an interesting play here from Senen. I mentioned earlier Bombos could be our entry through, I guess, Ice Palace, and here we are. I'm not really sure if that was intended, but by the game logic, but here we are, and we're using Bombos. No Fire Rod yet.
Yeah, meanwhile, Blackwax just picked up the red cane in King's Tomb. Speaking of that one, we were talking about when it became available, and it was kind of passed over for a while. Well, there you go. We need that.
Yeah, that would put Meyer fully clearable, because it was Bombos from what our tracker's saying to get in. And, Senen could have knocked that out in the area. Just some unfortunate things there, but, we could still get some other form of progression here in Ice.
Very true. Also important, I think, to mention that because they don't have the red cane when they're coming in here, no icebreaker for Senen. So that is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage for them.
And if you do find a way to do icebreaker without the cane, be sure to submit that as a fetch question on how to do it for the Go Mode podcast. Also, that'll be considered your explanation to the Racing Council, so we can figure out how to let everybody know how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to be there when you get that submission. So convenient that someone can just send something into the podcast, and that's also like sending something into the Racing Council and the league and the ladder.
No, that's not sending anything into the ladder.
Herf could get it where it needed to go.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. You're absolutely right. I thought you were putting more responsibility on me that I didn't ask for.
No. All right, Senen showing us the classic IPPJ gets it first try, no problem. Well done there. You don't see it as often anymore because of the previously mentioned icebreaker, but as you can see, sometimes it could still come up, and it did for Senen.
Yeah, I want to encourage all the mentor racers and the mentors out there to make sure you learn and or teach the Ice Palace bomb jump. It's so, I hate to say it, but it's so niche now because of the way Kane is, most times not in ice, but it's definitely something you want to have in your arsenal because if a situation like this with no cane and you have to do ice, you do want to be able to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, in our episode on the 10 most important or top ALTTPR tricks to learn, over a year ago, we had IPPJ listed as our number one glitch that you had to learn because it came up very frequently. I would say it's still important now, but I don't think it would be first. We've talked about maybe revisiting that list before, so we won't get too deep into it, but it's in the top 10, but not number one, I would say, the IPPJ.
Yeah, and speaking of Ice Palace bomb jumps, Senen doing a nice job showing us
We're
that
seeing
one
all of them.
in the freezer room. We're about to get the one over here as well. This one's the one that intimidates a lot of folks, but if you kind of do what he did with that sword buffer and get on that bottommost pixel and put that bomb to the left, it's going to knock you downwards. And just like that, as we saw, very nicely done.
Yeah, and that one there's a little more wiggle room too than I think a lot of people realize. But yeah, first try, definitely very impressive. Well done, and good on Senen for having that knowledge ready to go.
All right, inverts apparently checked Graveyard Ledge. I don't think that was anything of value. Nothing's popped up on that tracker just yet. We do have a ton of divergence going on right now. While Senen's in ice, we do have Zeitnix down in Thieves Town. This is another pendant dungeon. So is this going to yield progression for us?
Interesting. Now, a lot of people will do what we kind of call like the front four. They'll check these 4 chests, one of which is guaranteed to be a big key. But then the last 3 could be 0 items or it could be 3 items. And it's pretty common, especially when you have the mirror like all of our racers do, to check those 4 and maybe nope out at that point, mirror out. Because, this is pretty fast and easy to get, but doing the back of the dungeon's pretty time consuming, especially for a pendant.
Yeah, we'll see if it looks like he is going to go ahead and clear it out. So definitely going to be sinking a little bit of time here. Blackwax making a play, it looks like. We're going in hookless to Swamp Palace. I like it.
Oh, wow. So this could give us 4 items if we're very lucky, or if Blackwax is very lucky and the seed filler was very nice. And it's always possible that there's a hook shot. Could be vanilla, could be French vanilla. So we'll have to see if this pays off. Definitely.
And getting things pointed out to us here, Senen has picked up that fire rod inside of Ice Palace. Bombo's.
Oh,
hey, look,
wow.
I called that. Look, you see, that was sheer luck. But yeah, Bombo sometimes can be, obviously what you need to beat this dungeon. And yeah, that seems to be the play for Fire Rod. Skullwood's going to be completely clearable now for Senen, and we're going to need that for TR as well.
Wow. Yeah, Senen has had a lot of these plays that are they're just right.
And Vert's also going to be following Zeitnix into Thieves Town. Has the mirror out and opting to use it. Not going to go to the back. So Zeitnix the only runner as we see Senen getting his 3rd crystal there from Cold Stare. Zeitnix going to be the only one to make the play to go to the back. We'll see if this pays dividends.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Senen making his play into the Thieves Town area. And I think Blackwax just got a compass in that first chest of Swamp and a map in the second. So
bad
I'm going to
luck.
have to be heading on over to the left side Swamp. Left side Swamp is, sort of saved in 2020 thanks to Diver Down. But when you don't have the hook shot, it's still pretty slow, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you take all the time to come in like this when you know you can't full clear it, I think you've committed to saying, okay, I'm definitely going to check left side. Even without the hook shot, it's slower, but like, what are you going to do? Come in here and check 2 and leave? Like, especially if they don't give you anything? No, you're gonna. Dante, I feel like we're getting pretty close to being able to reveal our announcement, but let's make them wait just
Yeah,
a little
let's
bit.
wait until about that 50 to 60-minute mark. This is
Okay.
like Christmas. If you give the gift too early, then
I know.
you get too excited and antsy, and you give the gift too early. You know, you just gotta make them wait until the desired time.
I'm literally giddy. Like, I cannot wait. Y'all be sure to stick around. Do not go anywhere. Or if you need a drink, like, go get it real quick and come back, because, like,
All right.
this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, if something, what do you think? Anything's in Left Side Swamp?
Well, I guess we're about to find out. We have seen a lot of, like, just galaxy brain plays here.
That we have. All right, so Senen going to be dropping in on the moth. Oh my goodness, there's the
Oh
hook
my
shot.
god. Wow. That's
Oh,
crazy.
so ice rod's in play. Most of our runners have that. Nice fight there from Senen. All right, so Blackwax making the Galaxy Brain play, getting that hook shot. I think, is that our? No, we need a Quake. We need a Quake medallion for Go mode.
That's right. Now we're getting asked if this is a planned out. That's a very fair question with everything that has happened, the insane placements. And I just want to say we did not choose where all of these items are. Like, we did not do that.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
This is a product of the randomizer on a random.
All right, so Senen unfortunately getting Bunny Beam, just a small key in that front or that bridge chest. Going to be heading on out.
I'm getting word lawyered.
Okay, so just a shield on Ped. And that right there should be enough information for you guys to know that we're not lying. As a shield on Ped is not anything exciting that Twitch chat likes.
I wonder what the purple chest has. I believe this is the first time we're going to see that. We've had Titan's mitts for quite a while, as well as the mirror. So this is one that has been in Logic for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. The chain's something you don't want. It's slow. Luckily, with this not so recently found glitch, I guess you could call it, being able to leave that purple chest behind, and with the mirror just like dashing to where the guy is and mirroring in front of him. Yeah, getting ready to see that on Zeitnix's screen, and poof, here's our item. So,
It's
just
very cool.
another bottle.
That's a pretty rad trick. It allows you to be able to dash, whereas normally you'd have to be walking around with that chest.
All right, and a solid fight there from Blackwax, taking down Argus. All right, so Vert's going to be heading into Mire while Zeitnix getting a shovel there on the Bombos tablet.
Okay, so we've reached 50 minutes. I think it's finally time. We've been hyping it up enough.
We're one item from go mode.
It's fine. Yeah,
Or
yeah,
no
it's
mode.
time to finally let everyone in on what's going on here. So, as I mentioned last year, these racers, 5th through 8th place, got together and raced a seed, all 4 of them. What we have done here is we have given them the exact same seed to race against.
It's about as close as it's going to be. And it's not gonna be potentially an exact representation of improvement, but it could be. If they've kind of caught on and they remember something very niche about the seed, then here we are, and they're gonna figure it out. But Senen about to get
Yeah.
his cane. But yeah, this
Yes.
was something we figured would be. I think I kind of pushed back on this initially, but then I gave in and said, yeah, it'll be kind of cool. Um, and I got to give a shout out to our restreamer Amerith for putting
Hmm.
this together. Going through watching the VOD and kind of making
Creating a
sure,
plan, though. Yeah.
yeah, making a Plando that was basically exactly the same as something the randomizer did. So Temp did not lie to you. We
Yes,
didn't
I
make
was.
full on Plando.
Exactly. Now, a few things to specify here. Additionally, the runners do not know this, so we have sort of done it kind of behind their back. And I've been thinking a lot about this. So obviously, there's something maybe a little shady about giving someone a seed when they trust you to give you one fully randomized, and you are in fact giving them a Plando. The way that I justify this is first and foremost, I would love it if somebody did this to me. This is like going into your friend's car without them knowing and setting their clock ahead by 3 or 4 minutes to help them be more on time for things. It's a nice thing to do, and they can't do it themselves, but you do it for them, because I think all of these runners are now going to have an opportunity to see themselves play an exact one-to-one representation of what they played before and be able to see the progress, essentially. So I'm okay with this. I think it's okay that we did what we did. It was maybe a little shady, but I should also mention all four of these are great people and community members, and I think they're going to be appreciative of it and not feel like we got one over on them or anything. So just to kind of explain sort of where we're coming from, I would love it if somebody did this to me personally.
I'll keep that in mind going forward. I'll wait till you have a bad ladder race or something, and then I'll give you something to improve upon. Okay, so just for clarification, any of you guys that are going to be runners in the Mentor Tournament, nothing like
Yes.
this. Like
God,
all of your
no.
seeds will most likely be generated, most likely or in some way, shape, or form by Sahasrabot. So it'll be all created right then and there if it's Ambrosia or open. That way, and your opponent knows, and your mentors know. There's no funny business. And yeah, that I did want to at least clarify that for everybody. There's
Yeah.
nothing shady going on with the tournament. It's just for this one exhibition race.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, this is a weird gray area, but again, for the reasons I've explained, we ruled it to be okay. And again, like Dante said, everything will be 100% random generated for the tournament, so have no fear about that. Now, we do have to ask ourselves, because we've seen some pretty galaxy brain plays from both Senen and Blackwax. Is it possible some of them remember the seed and are up on what we're trying to do?
I mean, it's possible.
Now, I would have maybe thought that Senen had keyed into what we have done, but they did leave the ice rod in Hera. They might have just forgotten that specific detail, or maybe they're just, as we initially kind of were saying about them, they're just getting really good checks and making really good risks, and they're not on the up and up. So this should
More
yeah.
importantly, where's Quake? If they knew, I'd say where's Quake, but not many people are going to remember fully. Maybe they remember one or two crazy items like Blackwax and that hook shot, but where every single item is going to show up. And I see Koi was mentioning in chat about the custom showing up in the permalink, and it does show up difficulty custom. So if you're paying attention to your seed and you see custom there, you're gonna know. But yeah, everything, like I said, everything's on the up and up for the tournament.
Yeah, so obviously we are extremely excited. We're glad that everyone's in on what's going on here, but I cannot wait to talk to all four of these runners and, number one, see if they suspected anything. Number two, hear what sort of reaction they have when we finally confess to what we have done here. So you're going to want to stick around for that as well.
Yeah, this is, I gotta say, this is probably the closest thing we could do for a reveal stream. We don't have the ties and to do the custom name drawing and stuff for the reveal streams and whatnot, like you see with the main tournaments. So this is kind of like a little fun thing.
Yeah.
All right, and down goes Vidi for Verts. The silver arrow is making it easy. Senen is showing off a nice door state glitch there, dashing. That was a weird way to say dashing, but dashing through the rail. That's a nice little
Dashing through the rail.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
we're not.
allowed.
Yeah, we're not. Let's say we're not singing here today.
I'm allowed. Okay, so Dandy, this might be a good time to talk a little bit about the Go Mode podcast for people who are not familiar. Maybe you just heard about the tournament and you're in here for that. And you don't really know what the Go Mode podcast is. Do you want to give like an elevator pitch of what the Go Mode podcast
I'm
is?
terrible at this, so sure.
Excellent.
The Go Mode podcast, if you haven't checked it out, it is Temp, myself, and Herfy Durfee. Herfy Durfee's a pretty cool guy. Temp's okay too.
The draft.
Yeah, the giraffe. But yeah, we get together. We chat about this game and all the news going on around it, as well as our focus being kind of on open and standard mode, the normal item randomizer, and just making things. I guess it's hard to do in voice form a lot, but we try to kind of give a lot of strategies, things you can listen to, kind of keep in the back of your mind, ways to do better at the game or do well at the game.
Yeah, it's a podcast for people who love A Link to the Past randomizer. If you're someone who also already listens to a lot of podcasts, this is a very podcasty podcast, and it's just three guys that love Rando, talking about community updates, helping out with different, tactics and strats and things like that. So yeah, check it out. GoModePodcast.com. We got 48 episodes for you to go back and listen to on all sorts of topics. And yeah, give it a listen.
And speaking of cool things, Senen showing us that spooky action glitch there, saving a little bit of time. There's 3 phases you can do that in, and successfully pulling it off in all 3. And commentators always like to say, "quote unquote," it's spooky, but it has something to do with the aerial coordinates. I think I'm saying that right, but it causes that fire rod to just kind of shoot upwards on the screen, and you can hit those crystal switches from different spots.
Yeah, and the phrase "spooky action at a distance," that's a real phrase that's from something. I don't know what though, but I've heard people outside of the rando community use it, and I was like, oh, I thought that was like invented for this game, but it's an actual. Okay, Lumaga is chiming in chat to say it has something to do with quantum entanglement. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, as we see Senen getting his crystal there from a very nice Vitreous fight. Most glitches seem to be named, for something else that already exists. Icebreaker, which we're, I think, hopefully about to see here from Verts.
It's a gum. Yeah, that's a gum.
And Diver Down. I that's a song or an album?
No, I think it's a Van Halen album. God, I hope I'm right. I'm gonna get yelled at so bad if I'm not right.
I was putting myself out there saying a song, but very nice icebreaker there from Verts, getting it done.
Oh, it could be Iron Maiden. Sorry. Anyway, back to the race, I guess.
All right, so Blackwax going to be taking on Cold Stare. Does have that fire rod.
Okay, chat confirming Van Halen. Thanks, y'all.
Solid fight there from Blackwax. Going to be getting his second crystal. I'm sorry, third. Check it. Crystal count, we're pretty close here between all of our runners. Senen has a little bit of a lead as far as crystals go. It really depends on when and if he decides to dive Swamp and wherever Quake decides to show up at too. And if he's going to go get that ice rod off of the worm guy, Moldorm, that's it.
Though that's what I thought you were going to say.
I played this game.
No, you're good, man. I know you do. Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say was when is he going to get back to Moldorm? Because that one seems like extremely forsakeable.
Yeah, for sure. And we got a question in chat if we get to play the chest game. I'm assuming that means the big key guessing game. And yes, we will play that. I have no look. I didn't know the hook was in Left Side Swamp last time. I honestly knew nothing about this seed. I watched the race last time and totally forgot all about it. I don't remember seeds after I stopped playing them most times.
Yeah, no, I thought about that. I thought about going back to watch it just so maybe one of us would have seen it, but I thought that wouldn't be as interesting to commentate on. And I'm in the same boat as you. I watched this one and did not retain it. I had to look up who won, you know? Like I didn't remember anything about
There was
this.
a solid fight there.
That's just my brain.
From Verts.
Yeah, it's a very nice fight.
Finishing
Yeah.
up Cold Stare and getting yet another crystal. So I guess we've seen most everything between all the runners. I guess we just haven't. Have we not gone to pod yet? I guess that's the one thing kind of left to do.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. We have not seen pod.
Oh, there's Ether on, and we already had that on Zeitnix side from the blacksmiths, but Ether being something we don't need, completely useless today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Zeitnix heading into the back of Meyer, going to be heading to Vitreous and getting another crystal to add to their count. Meanwhile, Blackwax with that fire rod in hand, as well as Verts, basically both doing a sprinting motion, heading straight to the back here of, I about said Swamp Palace. I don't know if anybody else does that. The SW for Skull Woods, I always wanted to say Swamp all the time. It's I apologize, but yeah, we got a Moth to take on for both of these guys.
Definitely, yeah. You know, and I find a lot of newer people, and I definitely am on record in a Discord 3 years ago doing this, will get Swamp and Mire confused because they're both, you know, like brackish wetlands. So that can be another mix-up. People get Swamp, just doesn't want to be Swamp for some reason, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. All right, so Blackwax in the Moth fight. Vert's right behind him. Vert.
Yeah, Blackwax has got some low health.
Yeah, gonna have to be careful there. Blackwax, or sorry, Vert's showing us some dash strats there. Trying to get those quick tempered hits in. Down to 1 heart, but Blackwax getting it done. Nicely done. Vert's having a little bit of trouble, but Moth finally giving up the ghost and passing along those 10 arrows. Both of these guys getting that crystal.
And finishing up Mothula with low health is just such a, like, rush. It feels so good when you finally see everything disappear from the screen and you hear the oh. It's like, oh my god, thank you. I was so close to dying, but I did it.
Please define rush. Like excitement, or like elaborate on that just a little bit for me, Tim.
No, you got it, man. Rush, excitement, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's more of a relief for me. It's like, man, if I screw this up, I'm toast. So
yeah, yeah, we're on the same page. We're just calling it different things. But yeah, it's like relief is definitely a good word for it, for sure. I also do want to take a quick moment to shout out Anti-Sim in chat, who did predict the big reveal in chat just before we said it. So shout outs to them.
Also, shout outs to Tyler Salt subscribing at tier 1 to the Go Mode podcast channel. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Thank you, Tyler Salt. Tyler Salt, one of our mentors this year, former racer. Good to have them around in the community.
I gotta say, I know there's been a lot for these guys to do, but Pendant Pod, you know, it's a 50-50 on if it's going to have progression, but man, it always is calling my name. Pendant Pod, whether it be SMZ3 or, you know, regular Z3 randomizer, I always want to go to Pendant.
That's interesting. You know, honestly, I think it was a conversation I had with you a long time ago that sort of convinced me to get on your page. because for a long time I would put off pod way too long and ignore stuff that I needed that was there. And now I check it a lot earlier, and I think it's all thanks to you.
Well, I'm glad that I can corrupt you a little bit in that regard. Um, I gotta say though, I mean, personally, this is just my personal opinion. This is nothing against these runners for doing what they've done. I would, I personally would want to do pod before Back of Thieves, just because of the item counts. But if progression shows up here in Back of Thieves, like unfortunately it hasn't. But if it would have, then I would just be sitting here with egg on my face. Speaking of pendant pod,
Yeah.
hey, Verts is headed there. I can't wait. I hope something's here. I don't recall if there is, but I hope something is. It'll be fun.
I mean, where else could we look? I guess no one has gone into Turtle Rock because they can't, right? So what else have we not seen?
Yeah, the only consolation of not having, I guess it would have to be Quake if it's something, maybe Powder, but the only consolation in my mind of, not, or being on a medallion hunt as these guys are for the Turtle Rock entry, is kind of, you don't have to worry about looking for something in Turtle Rock. Like, you're going to be, if that's your go mode item to get in, then you just get to go mode the dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah, pod can be very nice to go mode, but it does require definitely some knowledge of the key placement and layout and where your big key might be. Because I think a lot of people, when they come into pod, maybe myself included sometimes, even when it's in go mode, you maybe end up checking chests that technically, logically could not have contained the big key or one small key that you need.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to see if Blackwax had any kind of heads up in his mind about the swamp play, or if that was just a gamble. I kind of want to see if we get a reaction from him on that before we give away all our secrets.
Yeah, that's a good play. I'll let you run that one. We've got a very specific reveal structure, it sounds like now.
All right, so Zeitnix got 2 of the puffs down on Cold Stare already, and working on that final one. Does have a 16 hearts.
Wow.
Doing okay.
That was speedy.
Yeah, very nicely done. Getting that mirror ready. There it is. And grabbing that crystal, and we're going to see where they decide to go next.
Yeah, nice heads up getting that mirror out first. I never remember to make those sort of changes before picking up a crystal. Okay, so Tyler Salt in chat sharing some interesting information that I can't confirm, but I believe them. So Tyler Salt says that Blackwax always does tile room first, normally when they play, which is super quirky. I love it.
I don't advocate that at all.
Same. I love to see it, but I wouldn't recommend anyone do it. So, but that might be a very good indication of whether or not they have caught on to what we have done here, if they check that first or not.
All right, so Vert's giving us our only checks we haven't seen yet. $50 there in the Dark Maze. And going to be checking the bottom of Dark Maze here. Another $50. Doing a good job of dodging the Kodongo fire. Timp educating me this week on what they're actually called. I just called them Dodongos,
Yeah, same. I didn't know either. But, I think that's one of the better enemy names in this game. There's a lot of real stinkers. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, no. Okay, so we missed it. Apparently, Vert's got Quake in Harmless Hellway.
Oh, hey. Heyo.
So I think, yeah, we are. We are in, well, no, we're not in go mode.
We're in no mode.
I hate the difference between the two, but I guess Verts is going to go ahead and clear Turtle Rock, and it makes sense to do so, especially if he hasn't, like, quote unquote remembered. Um, makes a ton of sense to go ahead and do this. There's 5 items in Turtle Rock, and it's totally worth going there.
Yeah, so for those unfamiliar, no mode is kind of referred to in these races a lot of times when we as viewers know all of the item locations or places that have items that we need to be in go mode, but unfortunately none of the runners have all of that information themselves. So no one is in go mode, but we have all the knowledge to know where all the go mode items are. And here comes Verts up to TR, so we'll get some fresh content from Verts here.
And Senen actually doing front of escape here. I like how he bundled this in. I mean, obviously we've seen it on the other runner screens, but having mirror and checking the pyramid, just being able to mirror here, very efficient way of routing this in. And a solid fight there from Zeitnix, taking down the Moth, getting his 10 arrows.
Yeah, you could tell that they were very conscious of the fact that Mothula, when hit into spikes, the spikes sort of negate the damage that you've done. It looked like they were very carefully waiting for their opportunities so they didn't have their damage negated. So good fight and good knowledge from Zeitnix. Ooh, and Verts, very impressing me right now with the heads-up knowledge to not accidentally go up like we're all sort of trained to do, because they don't have the hook shot and they can't get out of there the fast way.
Yeah, it's definitely faster to go down when you don't have hook. And, if you always try to go the fast way, you're definitely going to be going the long, long way because you're going to be taking a long, sad trip.
Yeah, it's a real bummer of a trip. I think I was talking to Herf earlier today, and I said something that would definitely apply there. That's like, there's no worse feeling in rando than instant regret. When just like the second after you do something, you're like, oh, God, I wish I hadn't done that. And you just have to live with that.
Yeah, anytime you walk to a big key door and instead of it opening, it says something like something's missing, maybe the big key, question mark? That's a regret I have more often than I like to admit. So we did find our powder. That's unfortunately going to leave Verts down another trail of searching for something. That's kind of another thing referred to as a fetch quest, an item that leads you to check something else for another item.
Yeah, and as we know, but unfortunately it seems like they probably don't, the best they can really hope for is something like, I don't know, like a sword upgrade, and even that is like not too exciting at this point.
Yeah, these guys are pretty set, I gotta say, equipment-wise. We've got red mail almost all the way around the board, or at least half of our runners have it, and a ton of hearts. Everybody's in double rows, or the second row of hearts, and tempered plus silvers. What else could you really ask for?
Oh yeah, so having it is possible to beat Ganon without silvers and with a master sword, but just getting silvers or just getting tempered, either one of those makes it a lot faster. And getting both is like, all 4 of these runners are totally set on Ganon if they've got those 2 elements.
So it looks like Senen is probably going to be our next runner to get that Quake medallion. The unfortunate thing for Senen is no ice rod or hook shot yet. So Yeah, this is an awkward time. It's just there's so much to still check, and we know what our go mode is. It's just who is going to put all the pieces of the puzzle together first.
That's right. Yeah, Senen needs another one of those Galaxy Brain risk sort of plays to end up back into Hera.
And Senen showing some nice
Ooh,
tech there. That is the pod stare dash or the pog clip, a lot of people like to call it.
lug clip.
Uh,
Yeah, love it.
I do like that stair state extension there, thanks to that cane and the pit there. If a lot of runners see that showing up, then say, hey, how do I do that? The Go Mode Podcast Discord is a good place to be asking that type of thing. There's also a wiki for that as well. And yeah, that would be a question. If you want to learn that, get with your mentor and ask. I would say that's probably a good way to do it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the vast majority of our mentors are eager to pass on their knowledge, and I think it's important to say that because a lot of our racers might be feeling a little bit timid about DMing some of them or reaching out, but all these people are doing it because they love Rando, and they will relish an opportunity to talk about Rando with you and help you out. So don't be afraid to ask your mentor to help you out with specific things like that.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, last year being a mentor, obviously it was super fun and, passing some knowledge where I could. The hard thing being a mentor that for me personally was I didn't want to come across like I was pretty like stuck on myself or pompous about anything, just saying, hey, I know how to do this. Let me show you. It was a weird, like, how do you go about approaching somebody on the internet without sounding like, a complete butthole? But
Sure.
yeah, it was, it all works out. You just kind of have to, be understanding, stay humble through the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you ended it on that. Stay humble, keep an open mind, and as we've said, I think a lot of the feedback from last year was very very positive. A lot of people learned a lot of stuff, got a lot better, a lot more into the community, and we're hoping to do the same thing again this year.
And since we're on the topic of the tournament, we did have a question in chat about do we suggest one mentor through the whole tournament or various ones? It's kind of a pick your own flavor there, as we see Vert's heading into the Trinex fight, getting the backdoor strats. Do want to comment on this boss fight, doing a nice job. Got that first head down and keeping the ice off the floor. That's always important in this fight. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
looks like he's going to have at least a 2 cycle with the head poking out.
did avoid the ice though.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. And as he's heading into phase 3, and I'm sure he's going to wrap this up pretty quick. But yeah, it really depends on how you mesh with your mentor. The person who won the tournament last year, Bum Rush Blitz, actually had a plethora of mentors along the way. I think he had about 4 or 5 different ones throughout the whole tournament. So yeah, it really just depends. If you feel like you work well with someone in your first race, my advice would be to maybe reach out to them, see if they're available outside your race and even before your first race, and see if they can teach you some things. Because a lot of the learning and progressing you do in this game is not done in races. It is done out of races
So true.
when you can make some time to practice, to kind of be a sponge and soak up some knowledge and be willing to take your lumps, so to speak. And you can grind races. It's a fantastic way to get better, but it's not always the best way to get better.
Senen looks like it's trying to set up like a hook speed with their blue cane to try to get back through Spike Cave. Very interesting choice. Unfortunately, it looks like they weren't quite able to make it. They're going to have to dip into that blue potion, but props to trying it out. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, if you get the spin speed there and you have half magic, you can get out of there like super quick, preserve a lot of your magic. But either way, didn't take a death. And I think this is still going to be faster. Looks like he's going to make the play back up to Hera, or rather is going to be headed to Turtle Rock here shortly.
Yeah, interesting. You don't see people leave Spike Cave very often. It's usually a kind of a classic save and quit location where it's like that's the last mountain thing you do. But Senen looks like found an opportunity where it made sense to come back out. Unfortunately, they just walked by Harry. I hate to see that, but it's not the last time they'll be by there, I would imagine. So there's still an opportunity for them to grab that ice rod.
So we got to point this out. I noticed this, and it's been said in chat now too. We totally missed it, but Blackwax is in go mode, and
Oh, dang.
he's headed into Turtle Rock. See, this is what happens. Me and Tim start talking, and
Yeah.
things happen. So I gotta say, now that I've seen this seed and seen kind of how all the items panned out, we sure picked a terrible seed to see how these guys improve, if I'm being honest. Because this is, they're all of them in their own way of knowing the logic and the items that they know. Me personally, I feel like every play they're making is the right one. It's just when you see all the different screens, it's easy to say it's the wrong play. So, I mean, I think all of them have improved regardless of how this turns out, because these item locations just suck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, we picked a real doozy of a seed to the point where I was worried people were going to think that was the surprise, was that we had, made it like a really trolly plando. That would have been so unfun, in my opinion. That would have sucked. But it being the same as last time, obviously, that's a different kind of special. Tyler Salt, by the way, you did successfully predict my favorite percussion instrument, which is timpani. And now you know the origin of my name.
All right, so Vert's getting ether, just needing a hook shot. We're gonna get our first magic bat check. We'll see what is on our bat friend today. I like Trinex's description of Timp in chat. Timpin. I like it.
Yeah, I used to lean into that a lot. Not so much recently. It's not really that funny anymore. But yeah, the closeness of the two words definitely not lost upon me. Yeah, there you go, Carlson, in chat. There you go. You got it.
Well, we got a perfect demonstration from our last episode. Blackwax accidentally clinking the boomerang off of the chain chomp, and guess what? It did not stun him.
We could have warned him. We know better than anybody that doesn't work.
I mean, he knew he wasn't trying to stun them. He was trying to hit the switch. But
yeah,
all that investigative research, even playing the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah, the Cliff's Notes version of this is on the last episode of the podcast. We talked about enemies and dealing damage, and got a false tip, I would call it, that Boomerang would stun the chain chomps. So we wanted to research it, and we tried it in 3 different versions. And of course, the Boomerang does not stun the chain chomp. That's ridiculous, but we had to try it. And, there you go. That's the end of story.
So I'm not really sure what Blackwax is looking for. Could just be muscle memory, heading to that lava chest. Has the big key already.
Yeah.
I guess it's better to do that than, leave the big key in the lava chest, which, has been done before by people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe muscle memory, also not being 100% sure of how the item layout works and not wanting to risk potentially leaving behind a crucial small key or something like that. That's understandable. It's fast enough, I guess.
Ooh, this is a little risky here. Since it wasn't a small key there, he does have 1, so he should be okay. Not doing the big chest. There is the possibility. It's like a 10% chance or something low, that his last key is in it.
Yeah, I was just looking at that chart last night. I wish I could post it here.
But
I think it was pretty Wong put it together.
And that just shows, I'm sorry, that shows how much I was paying attention when Bert was in here initially, and Senen going through Mimic Cave right now. But
Yeah, I also wanted to shout out, real quick, it was really cool that Senen despawned the Pokies in that room by kind of moving the camera over instead of killing them. Just a quick little time save, pretty slick. I'm sorry, Dante, so what were you going to say from before?
No, that's fine. What I was going to say here is get ready. I know you guys were asking about the big key guessing game, so on and so forth. As soon as that crystal is hoisted in the air, we will start that. And you can get your guesses in chat. 1 to 22. You know how that all works if you watched one of these on a restreaming channel before.
Yeah, so to answer some of the questions in chat about how Senen pulled that off, moved the camera and despawned the Pokies, it had to do with the dash that they did after they got out of the pipe. That, for whatever reason, kind of messes up the camera. Kind of like in Hera, that happens a lot when you're going up the stairs. And yeah, that's how you can move the camera over, and then you pull on the wall, and once the Pokey is over on the other side, the game thinks it's dead because it's not there anymore, and it's despawned and the door opens. So, pretty cool. Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of pushback in chat from people who are better at the game than me as to whether it actually saves time or not. I will admit that I haven't exactly tested it out or anything, but I did think it looked pretty cool.
All right, and down goes Trinex for Blackwax. So we're getting ready to start that up here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm starting to suspect whether or not Blackwax is onto us. Dante, what is your guess for the big key guessing game?
I don't know.
Oh, come on, you got to guess.
I'll guess, let's see. I always like when it's somewhere between 3 and 6, but I like it because I always go right if I can. Okay. So I'll just say 5.
I'm just gonna kind of pull a number out randomly. Again, I do not remember, even though I did see the seed before. I'm just gonna say 15.
All right. If he does one for Towel Room, if that's his very first check, I'm literally leaving the commentary booth. Oh, thank God he's going left.
Okay, so does that mean that he knows where it is?
I mean, maybe. He galaxy brained the hook. I mean, he knew. He's got to know.
Maybe he watched it the other day. We also had some people posit that it is possible that some of the racers might have gone back and watched to try to do a little bit of intel in their competition and are now very thankful that they did that because they have a little bit of a memory of what was where. Okay, so we're on what, 5?
Yeah, that was number 5.
Now you do have to ask yourself why they would walk into that room that didn't really have anything useful at all. Maybe they just sort of kind of remember where it is. I don't know. This is really interesting to think about.
I mean, it did have 2 keys. I call that useful in GT.
That's fair.
I mean, me personally.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying, it's not exactly like he's coming in with Plando or like spoiler tournament, I should say, knowledge. Right. You know, it's not like he even if he did figure out what we've done, there's no way he knows all of the layouts here, like all the contents, all these chests.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeitnix, take it down, Trinex. Very nicely done. Unfortunately, Senen was trying to set up that bomb jump. That's a pretty tough bomb jump, honestly, in Hera. And unfortunately, taking a fall. And when you take a fall to that one, it's literally a twofer. You're going to fall all the way back down. But hopefully, we'll be able to get it this time. All right, when did he like mirrored and he's doing a really weird route.
He mirrored after the fire bar room, and we're now hearing that is maybe something that he does, but he did just skip tile room. So again, we're not exactly sure what is going through Blackwax's head, and again, we don't remember where that key is, so it's just really interesting to watch all this play out.
I think he's doing the right thing by skipping tile room, even if it's there. He's doing the right thing by skipping it.
He's doing the same thing.
I gotta say, Verts is making the play, heading into Swamp. Looks like Zeitnix is not too far behind him, so gonna be learning very shortly what their go mode is.
And there is the big key. I'm sorry, we need to kind of figure out this number.
I believe that was...
is that 10?
6, 7,
9?
8, 9. I think that was 9.
9.
So, it was 9.
All right, we'll get that entered so we have an official winner here in just a moment. By the way, yeah, don't forget about the torch.
Yeah, I did count that one. So, oh well, I'm sorry. The leaderboard's getting wiped out anyway. If I was wrong, I thought it was 9.
Oh man, this is amateur hour, dude. This is why I didn't want to do it. To be fair. We should have thought about it for another second.
That's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
My motto is, if you're really... Not that I'm intentionally going to get it wrong, but there's the ice rod for Senen, so I'm sure that's exactly what he wants to see. But yeah, like, yeah, I'm bad at math, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a scenario if you get super mad about the big key guessing game. I'm sorry, but it's just a little fun byproduct.
Okay, so looking through it now, it doesn't look like anyone guessed 9. We just had one guess for 10. So Tyler Salt wins regardless.
All right, well, congrats to Tyler Salt, the guy who subbed earlier, and the guy who got 10 to get all the magic beans.
Well done.
All right, so Blackwax, with that big key heading up the gauntlet now, we can kind of turn this back to serious hour, because there is stuff to still do. We do have to beat this game.
Blackwax making good progress through the gauntlet here, getting some pretty quick kills. Sometimes these conveyor rooms can be tough. If the RNG takes the enemies, sort of sweeps them away on it, then you can be doing a lot of chasing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Senen did a nice job there of preserving the portal. That's one thing you can... That's a heads-up play when you can do that, when Aga's not dead, so on and so forth. Luckily, was still on the mountain and able to jump back down into it and head straight to the back of TR. And if you ever have to dive TR without the ice rod and it doesn't show up on the way, it's definitely a good strat to keep in mind.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool to see them do that. And it's so nice when that pays off too, because sometimes you set up that portal and you're just forced to, you know, reset the game or save and quit or do something else that's going to get rid of the portal. So for that to pay off is a really nice feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the only thing remaining for Senen now is going to be finding that hook shot, and looks like Verts has his, and Zeitnix not too far behind.
That's right, so that will be go mode for them. So yeah, Blackwax has a pretty significant lead here, so that will, you know, if they keep everything up and everything goes according to plan for them, you know, it's sort of theirs to lose. We'll invite them in and maybe have a little conversation with them while the rest of our runners finish out the seed. Ooh, just getting slammed by a laser there.
I mean, sometimes you just got to take one for the team.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I gotta say, the story of the seed is if you Galaxy Brain the Swamp Dive, then, you know, you win by a large margin, which is kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, no discredit to Blackwax, did make the play, but yeah, like this seed had that opportunity for some crazy variance.
Yeah, if every seed is a riddle, like that was the answer to this riddle. Once you answered that, then you proceed. Blackwax taking advantage of hookshot iframes and using them to kind of allow for a wider timing, I guess, to be able to spin into Moldworm. Kind of a neat strat. Yeah, and as folks have pointed out in chat, Blackwax was fully checking all chests up here at the top of Ganon's tower. Perhaps looking for, again, another sword, some other safety of some sort, maybe just nerves, and again, kind of muscle memory, which we mentioned before. Not too much of a time loss, and as we know, that's certainly no problem because they've got a big lead. Meanwhile, getting a triple on the first round of Agate 2, very nice.
Got to shout out Senen there, getting the bomb dupe, heading to Pyramid. It's a little bit of a time save if you pull that off. Also a big time sink if you end up screwing it up, but nicely done by Senen. And Blackwax there finishing.
All right, they're just a Ganon away from taking this four-way race.
Zeitnix trying to show us a little bit of diver down here. Not quite sure why he's doing this. Did get a small key already. I guess he's trying to trigger the crystal switch from the other room.
Could be. I didn't see the setup, but that would explain it.
All right, so Blackwax into phase 2 now, and has him in the corner, needs to, unfortunately does not get inside the Firebat circle to be able to get the 6 spins. So the way this works, Tempered Sword, phases 1 and 2, 12 slashes each phase or 6 spins as they are double damage, unless you're on Butter Sword, then it's kind of irrelevant. And once we hit phase 3 here momentarily, it's going to be 4 slashes, 1 per Mad Stompy boy jumping up and down. And we got silver, so phase 4 today is just gonna be light the torches, smack Ganon once, and get as many silver arrows in him as we can until he dies. We need 4 total.
Yep, easy. So I just want to say real quick, because I know we do have a lot of newer racers here watching tonight. When you are fighting Ganon, if you're concerned about your health or you want to make things go quickly, the hookshot can be a really nice tool to have, because while it's extended, you have iframes. You cannot be hit through all of it. So a lot of those, you saw Blackwax kind of going between the 2 torches a lot. They're just invincible during that. They're not getting hit by any of those fire bats. So it's a nice way to guarantee your safety during that kind of dangerous part of the fight. And with that, Blackwax has defeated Ganon and earned a first place finish in the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2020 Exhibition 4-way race. So huge GG. Get your GGs in chat for Blackwax.
Yeah, finishing in first place with an official race time.gg time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, 47 seconds. Let's get your GGs in chat for Blackwax, and we'll see if we can get him in for a bit of an interview here. And,
all right, so Dante, before we do that, did you have like a strategy of how you want to reveal this information? I think I want to let you. I'm going to let you take the lead on this.
Yeah, just let me do this. I got this.
Okay.
Problem. And we are joined in the booth already by Blackwax. GG.
So I got a question.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
Why did you give us the same seed?
We knew it. We knew you knew. We knew you knew.
He figured it out.
Yeah, before doing that, you probably should have known. I have a photographic memory. I knew where every single item was but the mitts. And I forgot that Quake was the, I forgot Quake was the entrance to TR, but I knew where it was. But I played it a little bit because I didn't know if the audience knew.
So we...
well, the audience found
go
out
ahead.
about halfway through.
I found out when I got the mirror.
So that's when it clued you in.
Yeah,
eh?
because last time I was like, I'm gonna follow this bottle that I got off Zora, and it gave me the mushroom, and I'm like, well, I might as well. And I went and got the mirror, and then it took for all of us forever to get Dark World access last time. Do you think they figured it out?
So we are very anxious
not
to
sure.
learn. Yeah, we don't know for sure, but signs are kind of pointing to no. We shall see. I'm very impressed to hear that you knew, but I mean the photographic memory sort of tips it off for sure.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, because it's unlikely that they know. I was thinking about going and getting the Smith and doing Ganon with the Smith, but on the chance that they did know, I didn't want to
that
lose.
would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So, Blackwax, what are your thoughts about like having done a seed 2 times now? Have you ever played a seed twice before? I imagine probably not, right?
The only seed I've played twice was the first seed I did, and that was just because I wanted to see how much my my execution had gone up.
Sure.
So I figured that would be a good measure. But that's the only seed I've ever played twice.
Okay, so let me ask you something, and feel free to answer however you would like. You will not hurt our feelings. Do you feel like betrayal? Do you feel betrayed, or is this fun? Like where are you at right now?
I feel like I was inadvertently given an unfair advantage, like an insanely unfair advantage. Because I'm gonna guess, Zeitnix isn't gonna find Quake for a while. Vert's probably isn't gonna find the hook shot, and Senen's probably not gonna find the cane.
Yeah, and
Those
should
are
also
probably those go mode items.
Right, yeah, and to your point, there were a lot of really trolly item placements in this, so this was a particularly nasty one for what we ended up doing, you know.
Yeah, like, so last time when I watched it back, Senen, his go mode item was Kane, and I expect that to be the same thing, because he has a very specific style that he learned from Rywick, where you do the overworld stuff later.
Well, his go mode is actually going to be a hook shot. He actually just got it.
It was hook shot for everyone but you.
See, last time there was a hint in Meyer that said there was
hints.
There was a hint in Meyer that said there was a an item on left side swamp.
Interesting. So yeah, obviously we turned hints off for this to keep in the spirit. We also put the progressive bows in just to try to make it, you know, appear V31. You can thank Amarith for, we were talking about this earlier, you can thank Amarith for putting in the time to recreate you guys' race from the end of the
Yeah, that would take a while. That's crazy. Like, so I didn't even realize, is this a plandomizer?
Yes. And we had to serve it to you in just such a way so as not to arise suspicion.
I didn't even realize it was a customizer. Yeah, it says, wait. It doesn't even say it's a custom game.
Well, it does, apparently. We learned that. I think it was
Difficulty
Koi.
Custom.
Yeah, Koi pointed that out in chat. I did not notice that myself initially, but yeah, if you're really combing over it, you'll see it. And if you're just like me and you're just like, all right, download the seed, let's go play, then you know it's easy to look over.
Blackwax, are you? I wonder, do you remember what time you got last time?
2:05 or something around there. It was a little
Close.
over 2.
Yeah, it was a 2:07:21, or
Okay.
in-game time. I'm sorry, was actually 2:05:33. So in-game time, yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this time your racetime.gg time, or the time on your stream at least, was 1:39:51. So as you said, kind of remembering and recognizing the item location skews it a little bit. But even if we're looking at execution, I mean, it's got to be improved. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. So this seed, even if I don't remember it, hookshot's the only thing that slows me down. And because of some newly allowed glitches, fire rod doesn't become nearly as much of a pain in the butt. The cane, just that the cane is in a place where, unless you have already gone into Hera, it's not a hard thing to find. But if you skip out on Hera for a while, that's pretty rough. And so that's one of those items that, like, Senen had to go into Hera like really late to find. But like, I mean, the only thing that would slow me down now would have been the hookshot.
Yeah, that's fair. So go ahead.
Well, you don't go into left side swamp unless you're absolutely sure something is there.
Yeah, usually, pretty much, exactly.
How long did it take you guys to figure out that I knew that this was the seed from last year?
I mean, we knew when you went into pod when you went into swamp, we were like, he probably knows. Like, at that point,
I mean,
we thought you knew.
How long did the audience know?
We told them.
We told them about 50 minutes in.
It was right after you got your hook.
Oh, because you probably didn't want them to think I was cheating.
No, it wasn't.
No, we just couldn't contain it anymore. We just couldn't. We couldn't hold it in. We were so
Tim
excited,
was bursting with excitement.
Yeah,
we've been sitting on this for a pretty long time, like a month, maybe 6 weeks,
So
maybe even longer.
So when you guys invited us, you were planning on this the whole time?
I think the idea came up shortly after we invited you. We were like, wouldn't it be funny if we gave them the exact same seed, and then it was like sooner, before we knew it, it was happening.
Yeah. So we all of us got above 150 last time.
Yes.
Let's see. I believe so.
The who was it? One Zeitnix got like a 156 or something like that.
152.
150, 55.
150
in-game time.
Oh yeah, if we're going in-game timer, the RTA was like a 152.36. Senen had a 152 or a 156.17, and Verts had a 158.42. Meanwhile, you, as we said earlier, had a 2:07:21. So I mean, yeah, if you got a photographic memory, that's definitely an aid, I'd say. But
oh, it gets in my way because I'm like, I already checked pod. No, I didn't. That was like 6 seeds ago.
So another thing to look at, I think, is sort of interesting, are other differences that we didn't really have any control over of this, recreating this seed, or I should really say Amerith, because again, this was all their hard work. But the prize packs might have been a tip-off if you kind of knew to look for them, that everything was not quite what it seemed.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't have remembered that.
I mean, me either, to be honest. We did have some conjecture that maybe, folks who know Senen and sort of know his nature and how much he likes to study this game might have been tipped off from that. So we'll have to ask. That should be interesting.
I did. So one of the things I realized that, like, how well I know this game while I was playing this seed is that I was like, okay, well, I guess I killed that first guard and I got that 20 rupee, and I was like, well, I guess if I need money, I can always just kill the Stalfos in Eastern later before I go into the rupee room because they're the same prize pack.
Yeah,
that's a good
true.
example of some knowledge
and then it, like,
gain.
As I'm like running through Kakariko, I'm like, that is some heavy planning.
All right, so while Vert's here finishing up Ganon in phase 4, just has to get, I think it's just one, maybe two more. Oh no, that is the final hit. So Vert's is gonna look like he's gonna cross the line in second place here. Just has to get through this cutscene and head on through the. And he is gonna cross the line and finish in second place with an official time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 42 seconds. So get your GGs in chat for Verts. And
GG Verts.
Said he is gonna join us for an interview here shortly.
All right, so Dante, you're going to take the lead again.
Yeah,
and Blackwax, don't give it away. We'll slowly peel it away.
All right, so we got Senen and Zeitnix basically like one room apart. This is going to be a pretty close finish between these guys.
It really is, yeah.
And we are now joined in chat by Vert, second place finisher tonight. GG.
Hey, thank you. GG Blackwax as well. That was something. That was a big difference, man. Like, I don't know what Galaxy Brain play you made, but I feel like it must have been getting the hook super early and not doing all the things I did.
So tell us your thoughts. How do you feel, I mean, in general, about the seed? I mean, this seed, the item placements were kind of just like not kind.
Yeah, you know, I felt like the whole thing at the beginning with like, all right, I have one check left before I go do Aga. Okay, now I have the mushroom. I have one more check to go to before I go do Aga. It's like, oh, now I can do the mountain. Cool. Just like a whole bunch of silly nonsense like that at the beginning. I felt really good about skipping Thieves Town and after I did like Village of Outcast stuff, and I felt like I was on a roll until I needed to find Hookshot, and then I was like, well, all right, back to the village, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that was, I feel like that was kind of like maybe not. I don't know. It's hard because it's like, do you go into Swamp and hope that it's in there? Or do you go for a more, like, you can get potentially more items and avoid double dipping Swamp? And I opted to hopefully avoid double dipping Swamp and then did silly things along the way and lost time here and there. But otherwise felt like okay about it. Like I don't think it was a terrible seed as things go.
Yeah, your execution definitely was on point. So, you know, congrats to that. I mean, I have to ask, does this seed make you miss hints at all? Like from V30, potentially, you know, with that hook showing up on left side Swamp?
Maybe, but, you know, it's also like, it would be nice to get that hint, but also you get a lot of junk otherwise, too, you know? So I always...
That's fair.
Yeah, when I was a newer player, hints had just come in when I was a newer player. And I remember getting super confused by most of them, so I'm like on the fence about them. Yeah.
There's a reason I asked that, and the reason for that, Blackwax called on, and unfortunately you have not. But this is the exact same seed you guys played for your tiebreaker race.
Man, that's funny. I didn't even notice. That's great.
I noticed when I got the mirror.
That's funny.
I honestly didn't expect you guys to remember. That was me personally. And I had no idea what these were. You can thank a Marith for this. They went through from the VODs and recreated everything. But literally as soon as Blackwax got in here, he was like, you guys gave us the same seed, didn't you? And we were kind of like, well, the jig is up. I mean,
I just called you out on it.
Yeah, they already knew fully.
That's funny.
We did it in the idea. We did it in the idea of trying to, you know, gauge a little bit of improvement, you know, so on and so forth. But you know, rando, it's hard to do that, and not having a hint saying there's a unique item in left side Swamp
changes things a little bit.
It does stack things the other way. So, but yeah, we wanted to, you know, with it being an exhibition. We figured, heck, why not? I initially was against it, but then I was like, you know what, this could be funny. So,
I think it's funny. Like, part of me is like, oh man.
Yeah, we talked about this.
That was a while back. I don't even remember.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit kind of during the seed, but like it was a little bit of a risk to serve up a plando. But we're definitely glad to hear you taking it in stride. And personally, as I also said, I would love it if someone did this to me. It's almost kind of like a surprise party. You could never set it up yourself. Someone else has to do it, and they're doing it sort of for your benefit.
Right.
You know, so I'm glad to hear that you appreciate it.
And we have to point out that Bertz, you did your RTA time last time was a 1:58. So still, even without the hints, you know, improving on that. And I think
Very
it goes,
impressive.
you know, I've been following your progression through the AD tournament. So I know your execution's definitely been improving along the way. So congrats on that.
Yeah,
By the way, just a quick break in to give a quick notice to Zeitnix. Unfortunately, just took a Ganon fall.
no.
Hate to see it. But Senen finishing
Yeah.
out the seed. So get your GGs in chat for Senen.
Yeah, finishing in third place with an official time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 14 seconds. We'll see if he wants to come join us for an interview. And yeah, we're getting what Twitch chat kind of called out last time with this race, a complete like 180 of
It's reverse, yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Did you notice Senen's time from last time, Dante?
Let's see.
I don't want to say it in case they jump in here.
Ooh, I do. Hey.
We'll talk about it in a second. It's pretty interesting. But
All right, so Zeitnix in phase 3. We'll see if Senen pops in. Here we go with phase 4 for Zeitnix. And down goes Ganon for Zeitnix. So get those GGs in chat. Zeitnix gonna
and that
finish up this race, and long as this cutscene goes to plan, gonna finish in 4th place with an official time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 45 seconds. You like how I predicted the future on that just a little bit, right? So that's all of our racers. Give them all a big GG, and we'll see if we can get everybody in here for an interview. And we are joined in chat now by Senen, GG.
Hey, thanks. Phew.
So before we get into anything too specific, Senen, just overall thoughts. How are you feeling after getting that?
Well, that was quite a ride. I'm not so happy with how I played. Like, I hope you like bonks because my execution was not good tonight, but overall it was fun.
I wanted to take a moment to say that we noticed on your screen a lot of neat strats and tactics and things like that we don't often see. For instance, like despawning the Pokies in Turtle Rock, and there were several others. But did want to give you a shout out for kind of putting on a little bit of a exhibition of a different kind here for all of our new racers. It was cool to see some of those.
Yeah, that's kind of my specialty. So yeah, I like to use some unknown glitches to, well, hopefully gain a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
And we are now joined in chat by Zeitnix as well, GG.
Thanks. GG all. That was fun.
GG, man.
Yeah, GG's. It was fun.
Well done.
So-
Zeitnix, way to finish it out.
Zeitnix, we were talking with Senen here. We've been talking with the other runners. Any thoughts in particular on this seed?
No, I just hate that hookshot placement. That's about it.
Same.
I have to say one thing on that seed. I was going to dip Swamp Palace way earlier, but that there was a shovel on the Bombos tablet, and that's the only reason why I didn't dip Swamp Palace when I was there. Because I was like, okay, after Bombos tablet, I do Swamp Palace, and since I got the shovel, I was like, I'm gonna do that shovel check, and then we'll see. And and I left. So yeah, props to that shovel.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of convincing to pull you away from a hookless swamp dive.
Yeah.
Unless you had something telling you there was a unique item there. And I kind of gave that same pitch to Verts. Blackwax kind of caught on to all the shenanigans that were going on here. And you can thank Amerith for this. But if you recall, you guys raced, and that's why we, for the, 5th place through 8th place. And that's why we brought you back here. What you didn't know is apparently we brought you back with the exact same seed you played last time.
Oh. That's brilliant. That's awesome.
Really?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
So Amerith, our restreamer and also tournament admin, went through and watched your VODs and constructed the exact same seed in a Plando, and that is what you just played.
Holy cow.
Okay. Well, the only thing that I noticed, I was pretty sure it was not regular window because the price spikes were off. So I was like, okay, this
What was
supposed to the price spikes were not consistent with how it should be on V31.
That is
So
the
I
kind of
knew-
thing I will never
I
notice.
knew it was a customizer.
They thought you might notice that actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I knew it was a customizer, but I was like, why did they use customizer?
That's amazing.
And yeah, now it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there were some other differences, as Chad's kind of pointing out as well. Of course, the lack of hints, and that was sorely missed in this one because I believe before you had a hint about the hookshot being on left side swamp. So that obviously
it was a
was
minor.
unfortunately something we couldn't really recreate. Yeah. There's also progressive bows, of course, and then one that I'm kind of reading Lady Box Thief as she's kind of reminding me of some things in chat. She also mentions Icebreaker. That was one that I was actually really interested to see. Once you guys, which I'm sure you'll probably do, take this seed and then put it side to side with the last one you played and do a side by side analysis of yourself 1 year ago versus today. It'll be really interesting to see how these new glitches really do improve your overall times in these dungeons.
Yeah.
Wow.
Funny thing is that in this there really are a lot of time where a little something made a whole lot of difference. Because I considered doing King's Tomb just before Blackwax, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna root that with Graveyard Ledge, so let's do it later. And when I come back later and find the Somaria after I've done Ice Palace, I was like, And yeah, I don't know what I did last time, but this could have made a lot of difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's forget for a second that this was, kind of had a gimmick to it and just talk about it as a normal seed. Senen, when you kind of chased down that fetch quest that got you Mushroom and then Mirror and then Flute eventually, were you feeling like that was a gamble, or were you feeling like the seed was kind of leading you that way?
I mean, Mushroom in Sphere 2 is like 20% chance of being progression, I think, something like that. So, yeah, an early Mushroom is a good tell to do it now. So, yeah, I did it right then. But since it was Mirror, I didn't push more to that direction. I was like, okay, I got a progressive item. That's good. So that's why I didn't go for the mountain right afterward.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable to, chase down an early fetch question item, but you checked that much earlier than your opponents in this particular race.
I checked it immediately. Yeah. It's 20% is pretty good odds to have something. So yeah.
Yeah, it was the right play. What can we say?
And,
yeah.
I do want to point out, so you guys finished in the exact opposite order the first time. And that honestly kind of proves how just gonna rando sometimes. Blackwax saying he had a photographic memory and knew at the mirror that something was up. So, not saying he hasn't improved, but that could show the massive gap in that little bit of time by making that dive to get the hook. I do want to point out how close this time is. Senen, you got a 156.14 tonight, and last time you got a 156.17. So you almost tied with yourself by tournament rules.
We should honestly restream that race. That would be a really good one.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be super close. Zeitnix winning last time with a 152.36. Unfortunately, getting the 157.45 tonight. But one thing we did, we were told through this race was like, and this is why I kind of joked about it. Hints were on last time, and there was apparently a hint very easy to get to that said something about a unique item in left side swamp. And I mean, I know me that if Swamp's a crystal and that shows up, I'm going left side swamp at some point, hoping it's hook shot. So a different scenario.
I wonder how much that hint took place in that time difference for me. I wonder how much, because I feel like I completed a lot of this seed. I checked a lot of checks. So
yeah, I almost 100%ed this seed.
So let's look at this real fast. We do have this thanks to a merit. Zeitnix, you had a 163 collection rate last time, and this time you checked 10 more checks at a 173.
Same.
Senen had a 168 last time and 160 this time, so 8 less. And Verts had a 176, one to a 173 this time, so 3 less. And Blackwax had a 162 last time, down to a 151. I guess that's pretty easy to accomplish when you basically get to skip all of the back of Thieves Town by diving into swamp early.
Yeah, I didn't even touch Thieves Town because I knew it was bunk. I remember trying to skip it last time, and there being nothing in there, and me being like really annoyed because it had burned me in the last like 3 seeds I'd played. And then I found out everybody else dipped it too. So
I came into this interview so innocent, like, oh, Blackwax with the galaxy brain. Little did I know.
The only item I couldn't remember where was the mitts. The only item that was behind the mitts was the fire rod, and I knew it.
That's actually pretty impressive to remember that race. I had no idea.
Like you have to also like understand this, like how like screwy this seed is that I knew where almost everything was, and I still got like a 140 on it.
Yeah. Blackwax, I actually wanted to make a note to ask you. You asked us before when you thought we might have picked up on the fact that you kind of knew what was going on, and my answer to that was going to be personally, I didn't even know until you got into the interview and told us, because we were getting a little bit of intel from chat that you apparently, when you go to Ganon's Tower, you prioritize checking tile room first. And at first, when you came in, it looked like you were not doing that, which would kind of say that you do know where it is, but then you checked quite a few places that were not the big key. So do you want to speak to kind of what your Ganon's Tower strategy was this time?
Well, I knew the key was in the compass room, but I didn't know where the small keys were, so I just routed it like I normally did and skipped tile room.
Okay.
And then I opened all the chests in the top, just memeing because...
Well, you said at one point too, you, which I really appreciate, you tried to like pretend like you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I didn't want to like come into the interview and chat be like, how did he know that this was there or whatever? So I was kind of like checking things as I went along, but I did not check anything that was like even kind of off to the side. Like I skipped the tablet, the Bombos tablet. I skipped what's the catfish. Like I skipped all kinds of things. I didn't even go into Thieves Town. I forgot. So not going into Thieves Town caused me to forget to arm my flute, and so I had to save and quit and go arm my flute after I got the fire rod.
So wild. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to move to wrap up here pretty soon. But before we do, I want to give all of you an opportunity to comment a little bit more on kind of this very unique situation of a seed. Any thoughts? Any parting words for us to consider? Maybe something about kind of your experience in the last mentor tournament, or something like that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, thanks. No, I had a lot of fun with this seed. Like, I think even I think y'all talked about this on the last podcast episode, which everybody should listen to. But y'all are talking about how, like, even when it's bad, it's good. So it was a fun seed, and especially fun with the kind of gimmick you threw at us. And I, as I was playing it, and I was kind of thinking about the mentor tournament a little bit anyway, because like I did a lot of things where I was like, you know what, a mentor taught me this. And
It's awesome.
And
Yeah, I actually did think about that too.
Yeah, even
That was a
stuff
good point.
beyond like even recent stuff that I've learned, I'm like, man, like somebody taught me that, and I think it just kind of speaks to the value of the tournament and the community. So, yeah, that's my thing.
Absolutely. I mean,
Awesome.
I wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for the mentor tournament, and it's awesome that I learned how to set everything up, how to do all this, and then how to do tricks and play the game. So it was great. And you said Amarith made this seed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Amarith was the creator of all of this.
Well, I want to thank Amarith for that, because I am going to go back and watch them both, because that is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, this was really a good idea. Now I have to watch this podcast and then
one that you've probably already seen back already. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, as we get ready to wrap this up, I do want to say again.
I still have something to
Go
say.
ahead.
Like I want to point out that this tournament and this community that you guys have created is really something special, because this isn't just a tournament to get you started in racing and learn more. This got me started in commentary. This got Amarith started in restreaming. This got a lot of the people in the community. Like, you've got Xylo Price and Lumaga and Lady Box Thief as admins. Like, this isn't just learn how to race and get better. It's helping people fill into what they need to get into in the community, or the roles they want to play. And it's a lot bigger than it just looks like. And I just think you guys have really done something amazing here.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate hearing that. And of course, we have to give a huge shout out to some of those names you mentioned. Of course, our current admins this year: Lumaga, Lady Box Thief, Amarith, and Xylo. So and of course, got to give a shout out to my co-host Dante and Herfy Durfy, who unfortunately it's a little too late for him to be here tonight over in Germany. But I just have to thank everyone involved, and I am super excited to get this tournament off the ground. Dante, do you want to take us out here?
Yeah, we could do that. I gotta give a big shout out to Lady Box Thief, Lumaga, both of them tracking for us tonight, as well as Amarith, not only for creating this replay, we'll call it, of a seed. I don't like calling it a plando, but close enough. Not only doing
legally,
that, but doing the
not a plando. We are in the legal clear with that. I was very careful about my wording.
Yeah, we're in the legal clear. I still had to hit do not record on race time, but hey. In all jokes aside, though, thank you guys for participating in this. I know it's kind of an exhibition. We were talking about that at the beginning. Not a whole nothing really on the line for you guys. Just your donation of your time. We appreciate it, and I believe all you guys are signed up to be mentors this year and kind of graduating up, if you want to call it that. So look forward to hearing from you guys going forward as well. And thank you, Temp, for commentating this with me tonight. It was a whole lot of fun.
Pleasure.
And guys, I hope you look forward to a lot of restreams from this mentor tournament over the next few weeks on this channel. And thank you again for being with us tonight, and we'll catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.